What's happening, fams? Before you go any further, I just want you to stop watching or do it afterwards, but go click on the link in my bio on Instagram and click on the link called Fight for Mike. It's a donations page for Mike, who's just been diagnosed with cancer, and it's the money's been used to raise funds for the treatment, and also go follow the Instagram page at Fight for Mike just to follow the journey and get more information about it, and the link is also in their description. So yeah, have a look. Shout out Mike, you're fighting a great fight, bro, and we're certainly praying for you this side. Yeah, all the best. I'm gonna roll the intro, but yeah, certainly have a look at the bio. Hello and how are you, toy sports lovers out there, and welcome back to another chat of the KIRWR pod. Here I've abbreviated it, where we chat all things from the mental side of sport to stories, laughs and banter. Whether into the old pigskin or the old leather ball, we've got you. Today I'm joined by jack of all trades and master of offloads, Dillyn Leyds. And if you don't know who he is, you've probably been living under a rock, but he's previously played for UCT, the Western Force, Western Province, Stormers, and currently with Rochelle and the Springboks. In this pod we say a farewell to Newlands and everything it means to him, as well as the disappointment of not making the Rugby World Cup squad to go to Japan. But by no means is his Springbok dream over. I hope you guys enjoy and let me know what you guys think.
Perfectly, my man. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, I'm alright. It's been a long day. I literally just got home like 10 minutes ago from training.
Geez, they're working you hard that side, eh? What's that about?
No, I don't know. Like,
Oh, it's weird.
we only started training at like 2:30, so
Jeez.
it's
Yeah.
it's weird. Like, I suppose it's a bit easy because like La Rochelle isn't really like a big town, you know. So
Okay.
with like COVID and that at the moment, they sort of we do a test every week, like literally
Jeez.
every Wednesday.
To get the like full on like up the nose.
Full on,
No,
like,
that's
100% like that thing goes.
that's offsides, eh? That's
Feels
offsides.
like they're picking your brain, and you try and get used to that feeling. It's
No, that's not a feeling I think anyone gets used to.
yeah, I mean, like now my mates back home are like, "What's it like?" And I'm like, I can't tell you, I can't explain because it's just like a weird feeling. It's not sore or anything, but like you just don't want it to happen as much as it's happening right now. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I personally haven't had one, and I don't plan on having one. But
No, if you can avoid it, yeah, 100%.
but yeah, your Wi-Fi is working, which means one thing for me. I get to practice my French, and bear in mind, so it's a direct translation off Google Translate, and we know their track record with direct translations.
Google Translate has
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, a few times already.
But I figure the guys at home are not going to know what I say either way. So if I put on a decent French accent, it's going to go down the same way. So here goes. The first word always gets me. So it's bienvenue sur le podcast. Comment allez-vous?
Oh, well, welcome to my podcast, basically. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Does it mean that?
Bienvenue. Welcome to welcome the podcast. Like,
How do you say it?
Bienvenue.
Yes, that is it.
Yeah.
But man, I'm a lucky guy chatting to Bok number 885. I googled it, I double checked it, I quadruple checked it, I sixth checked it. Jack of all trades, master of offloads. Dillyn's quite a humble guy, so you'll like deflect attention and say it's not. But we've got the clips. But yeah, no. But it's just a pity you went to Bishops. But hey, I'm joking.
Come on.
Bishops is a good.
You can't start the podcast like that.
No, shout out Bishops, a great school. But in all seriousness, for me, I kind of see this as a celebration of your career so far. You know, you've brought us a lot of joy playing for the Stormers and Province over the years. And I kind of see it as a celebration of what's happened so far. And I consider myself lucky to have you on. So thanks for joining me.
No, I'm happy to be here, man. You've been like a Hall of Fame guest before I joined, so no, I'm happy you consider me to be part of
No,
a
you see,
squad like that. You know,
there's the humbleness
the
coming in
Meeting
again.
Cat Achilles, Marcel Brakkies, you know, Schalk Brits, you know, so
No, yeah, no,
just to name a few, you know,
yeah.
to be on the podcast now, man, I should be thanking you.
No. There's the humbleness coming in again. Come on.
Yeah.
But sure, enough of the sappy stuff. I think how's life in France been? Have you had the full French experience? The baguettes, the Eiffel Tower, the beret. How's it been the first month, weeks, days? How's it been?
Yeah, so actually tomorrow it will be a month.
Wow.
So yeah, you've caught me at a pretty good time then. You know, I can give you a rundown of a few things that happens over here. But man, it's been I must say like speaking about La Rochelle, like it's a really nice city, like quite small, a lot similar to Cape Town in the sense that it's obviously you know a coastal city and
Yeah, well, let's go.
yeah, so it's really nice, but it's pretty small. So, I mean, a lot of the guys stay within, you know, a couple of minutes of each other.
Okay.
I've got a couple of the boys who stay relatively close to me, you know, so it's been good getting to know the guys as well. We were just like the French like culture is man, it's a lot to take in, but like.
Any weird experiences yet?
Yeah, so I remember when we chatted, like you know, obviously like sending messages and stuff, sort of talking about the podcast. I told you I'd go into a bit more detail just
Yeah.
about the French and that, but they like it's a first world country, but so stuck in like way back. Like you get like your bank account and like your bank card and your like your PIN basically sent all in the mail. So
Jeez.
like you can't walk into to like a bank over here. Like, you know, you walk into Absa back home and you're like, I want to open an account. Here's my ID. Like, you know,
Yeah.
here's my proof of address. And you walk out and you've got your account, you've got your card, whatever. It took me like 3 weeks to get my bank account sorted. Um, so now you can imagine.
That's a
Like,
crisis.
my contract obviously started over here, like officially in July, but because of COVID, I couldn't really travel. So I got here at the beginning of August and had to sort out my bank account for them to like put some money into my account, you know. So I was sort of going around still swiping my Absa card here, just using Randelas over in La Rochelle. Man, it was tough. Whenever the boys are like, yeah, we're going out for dinner. Do you want to join? Obviously, I mean, like, I'm trying to get to know the guys.
Yeah,
So
you obviously go, but they paid.
I'm not gonna blow them off. And then it's like at the end of the night, and you know how it goes. Like, oh, should we just split the bill? And everyone's
Oh.
like, yeah. No. It's like
No.
40 euros, and I'm thinking to myself, 40 euros, and I'm quickly like on the internet. I'm like, oh shit! Like this is what I'm
Yeah,
paying for a
that's
meal
no
now.
joke.
So I quickly got out of that habit of trying to convert things. But yeah, and like they like everything is shut on a Sunday. So like if you're trying to like go to the supermarket or go to like a Woolies to get a quick snack or whatever, it's like everything's shut on a Sunday. Also, don't try and make appointments between 12 and 2 because people just don't want to see you.
Oaks are
Like,
napping. Oaks are napping.
yeah, it's lunch. So like, don't try and bother me.
2 hour lunch. Like, what are you doing? Trying to
Yeah.
cook?
And they have dinner so late here. So it's obviously summer at the moment, and like it's now 20 to 8, and
Yeah, I
it's
see it.
the sun's still out, and like
Jeez.
people like start making dinner plans around about 8 p.m., which is so weird. Like
Yeah,
I
I know.
remember like the first couple of days getting here, I would like message some of the boys and be like, you know, like, are we going out for dinner? And it'd be 6:30, and they're like, oh yeah, I'll chat to you a bit later. And I'm
Yeah, I'm
like,
just having lunch, so.
a bit later? What do you mean? It's 6:30. Like surely we're gonna eat now. But no, it's been really good, man. Like it's helped a lot. Like obviously having Raymond Rule here, you
Yeah.
know, like we played together at the Stormers, so he's helped me settle in nicely, showing me around a bit. And then a lot of the French guys are also like, some of them are so like welcoming, and others, you sort of figure out like their English isn't sort of too good, but they try and speak to you just,
Yeah.
to make things a bit easier for you as well, which is really good.
Yeah.
So no, it's been a good couple of weeks, yeah.
Yeah, I saw on the Instagram stories on the boat and oh, that looked like special.
Yeah, so it was the
How can
one
you
guy,
not bond? How can you
the
not
one
bond?
guy, exactly. How can you not bond? There's beers flowing. You're on a
Yeah.
boat, like it's if you're not bonding there, I don't think there's gonna
No,
be.
then there's a
But
problem.
you're gonna struggle to bond anywhere else. Yeah, and so it was really good.
So what I wonder what brought about the move to La Rochelle?
So like funny story. During obviously like the build up to the World Cup and that, I was sort of set in trying to, do my best and what I possibly can, to get myself on that flight to Japan.
Yeah.
Obviously things didn't go according to plan, and then La Rochelle had like a last minute opening into, like, they called it like a medical joker, where they basically they lost a couple of guys to the French team, and they were struggling for depth, and they just needed someone to cover for that World Cup period, basically.
Okay.
And I would have come back January and would have obviously started again with the Stormers in Super Rugby, and that fell through. They ended up just like going with some of the younger guys over here, and it just, like, I think they thought, if they could try to get me over here permanently, they were gonna go after me. And I had a couple of calls, like Skype chats with the director of rugby here, and Ronan O'Gara is the the head coach, and John O'Gibbs he's a flank who played for like the Maori All Blacks, and I'm not too sure if he played for the All Blacks, but I know he played for the Chiefs in Super Rugby and that. So they just chatted to me about wanting to get me over here permanently instead of just like on a 3 month sort of covering basis. And at the time, I was sort of, obviously the World Cup was on, and I was thinking to myself, the next World Cup is in 4 years. At that 4 years time, I'm going to be 32.
And it's in France next World Cup.
And it's in France, yeah. And I was just thinking to myself, I've obviously just signed at the Stormers, so I was in a pretty good spot. But that was the thing that sort of bothered me a bit, the fact that just that comfortability.
Yes, that comfort zone.
I had that year at the Force, but I mean, I was pretty young then. So it was just about, like, I thought to myself, I had in previous years turned down 1 or 2 offers to go overseas. And I think for me personally, if I'd said no to this, it would have been, I sort of would have had to accept the fact that I'm probably going to stick around at the Stormers until my time is up,
Yeah.
So it was more for me a decision to challenge myself in a rugby aspect, as a human being, just get away from what I've been used to for the last 7 years.
Yeah.
Even though it's hard, because that for the next, little while, however long I do spend over here, there's no sort of quick coffee catch up at Bootlegger or quick, Sunday afternoon drinks at Caprice. It's starting life all over again, basically.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, I knew that it was something that I just had to do just for myself, just to get out of that comfortable space that I was sort of in back home, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And rugby wise, also the opportunity to come and play in France and just be in a different environment, a different culture, and you know, just from like having long conversations with Ronan, like just what he had to say basically about the plans that he has over here and what he's trying to do, like what direction he's trying to take the club in, you know. And it's a club that sort of they've got the players, but they're just lacking that like motivation and belief because they've never been in a position where they contenders for a trophy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So he was just saying with the time he spent at the Crusaders, and you know, he also was in that position where he could have stuck around at the Crusaders and would have been
Yeah.
probably
Successful.
with this team that won the Aotearoa competition now. Or he could have taken up the challenge of coming over here and trying to do something special over here. And I think that's what got me at the end of the day. The fact that, you know, I obviously still want to play good rugby and want to enjoy myself. And if I can add value over here and, you know, be at a club who will hopefully win their first ever trophy, it's something very special. And, you know, it's like, it's just being around different people and learning a new culture and meeting different people as well. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It must be a flippin' cool experience. And also, I actually just want to congratulate you. It popped into my head. Man got engaged. Just come on.
Yeah, well, geez,
He stuck with you, bro.
Drop the knee. Lockdown was, I must say, lockdown was good, man. It helped. You know, I thought at the start of lockdown, I was like, "Ooh, here we go. This is going to be the real test."
Yes, yes.
You know, luckily for me and the missus, we survived it and we've done
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
Awesome. But yeah, did the World Cup being in France in 2023 kind of play on your decision at all? Just with regards to you being over there and knowing conditions and yeah, I think just having been acclimatized already and providing guys with insights into European players, I guess.
Yeah, I think not too much. I mean, I wasn't really thinking about the World Cup being in France in 2023 when I made the decision. Although it was something that I'd spoken to people about, you know. But
Yeah.
I think for me, it's sort of coming over here now. You know that like it's for me. It's not a case of I just got to play well and then hopefully still make the Springboks. You know, I've got to play sort of without putting too much pressure on myself or anything like that. Like I've got to play or I've got to work twice as hard as the guy back home because
Yeah.
I'm not on the TV every Saturday afternoon anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've got to keep playing well, putting in good performances because also I wasn't at the World Cup and I wasn't sort of in the close 35 guys that were considered, you know, like reserve players. So a guy, for instance, like everyone knows that at the moment, Andre Pollard is probably the number one fluff in South Africa.
Yeah.
Well, not probably, he is. So him being overseas, if he plays well, he'll make the Springboks.
Yeah. Yeah.
But whereas my situation is, if I play well back home, I've got a chance of being in the squad. But now that I'm overseas and playing in France, my performance has got to be sort of double as good as the guy back home.
Yeah.
So that my selection sort of, I don't know, like gets justified.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Just the fact that no one's, like the media isn't really gonna hype you up when you're in France, not seeing you play every weekend compared to when you're on SuperSport 1 every Saturday afternoon. You know what I mean? So
at 3, 5, or 7, let's go.
3, 5, or 7. You know? So, yeah. But the decision, with the World Cup being in France, it didn't really play too much of a role in me coming over here. Yeah.
Okay. And I wonder, how do you reflect on your time at the Stormers in Province? Like some of maybe some of your fondest memories on and off the pitch, and also maybe your first kind of memories of Province.
Yeah, geez. I can probably go on for hours.
Yeah. Taking it back here.
Get the dinner ready, get the coffee sorted. But yeah, my time at Province, man, Robbie, it was like I don't think I ever imagined that I would play that many games for the Stormers and Western Province.
Yeah.
It's like, and I suppose everyone says it. Like, you play 1, cool. You play 10, oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I played 76 games, I think, for the Stormers.
Oh, that's a good shift there.
Yeah, like
great shift.
I started 75 of those. Like,
what?
Yeah, I was only on the bench once last year against the Sharks in Durban.
Was there much chat from the sideline on the bench to you, like fans? off topic,
no.
But
it was quite cool. Like, just before I left, like myself and Chris Van Sale, like, we're just chatting, like literally having a conversation about my time at the Stormers as well, and that's how we got to figure that out, actually. But yeah, like playing under 21s for Province, and like having guys like John de Villiers, like Brian Abana, Skalkberger, like legends.
Yeah.
And then going into like the Super Rugby training group with them, and like, you just sort of like, I want to be like these guys one day, like I want to play for the Stormers one day. And then, like I say, you make your debut and you play a couple more games, and then find yourself like in a leadership group, and you're like, how did I get here? But man, for me, it was literally just about, and it's something that like I honestly picked up when I got to UCT, like, and I think it's got a lot to do with sort of that group, like Groomy, Marcel, Dimitri, like those guys that won the Varsity Cup. I think it was in 2011.
Yeah, 2011.
Like, the way they went about things, how like at UCT, it was everywhere else. Like, there was guys who would not play for Super Rugby, like not play for the Bulls and Super Rugby, and then that Monday they play Varsity Cup for Turks, and likewise at parties. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And like those guys, like at UCT, they were all just, it was all just about enjoying the game, and like having fun with your mates. And man, if we win, great, but if we lose, like, it's not the end of the world. Like, you're still enjoying your rugby without putting extra added pressure on you. And that's just how I went about my game as I sort of got into the Western Province and Stormers setup as well. Like, I want to be playing every weekend, and it's just like, for me, if I don't play, like, someone else is going to be doing my job, and then he's going to get the idea, like, he can do it better than me. And then I'm going to be watching, and he's going to be playing. So for me, it was just like, I want to have fun while I'm doing it, because it's
otherwise, why do it? Then you just
why do it? Exactly. And like, it was a case of like, I'm here with my mates and guys who have now become like my closest mates, and I'm getting to spend time with them every single day, training, playing a game on a Saturday. Like, if I'm not going to enjoy that, I mean, you'd give that proposal to anyone, and they'll be like, man, I'll take it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's most kids' dreams. Like,
exactly.
For
and
being
so,
fair.
like, if you like, I don't know, if you're not like, I get the fact that you got to work hard, and those sort of things come with rugby. Like, it's you miss out on a lot of things. You miss out on mates' birthdays. You miss out on 21st. Like, can't go to a wedding because you've got a game in a different province or something like that. You make those those sacrifices, or like someone once told me, like, you're not making a sacrifice, it's like you're making small investments all the time.
Sure.
And that was powerful.
Bro,
I sat back.
that's it me. I was like,
I sat back.
take a break. Let's
Oh,
take a break.
wow. So, man, like, for me, it was all just about enjoying the game, and the fact that I got to do it with my mates, and the fact that I got to do it playing for Stormers and Western Province at Newlands, like, probably one of the biggest rugby brands in the world, and one of the best rugby stadiums in the world every other Saturday. And it was crazy. Like you like a kid from Strand thinking back now, like, how even, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So there's another question here, but I'm going to save it. But we're going to do a word game. So I usually do a game of who's and why, but I think just because we're reflecting on your time, let's do a word game. So basically, I'm going to say a word, and then the first kind of phrase or word that pops into your head, just let rip with it. If there's any dodgy ones, I'll cut it out. Don't worry.
Nah, it's all good. I think it'll be good.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it'll be good. Okay, so I think there's 1, 2, 3, 8, 7. I don't know. So first one, Newlands.
Home.
Stormers.
Brothers.
Bishops.
World class. World class.
You had to.
I just had to.
Springboks.
Still a dream.
Sirkulisi.
Legendary.
Strand.
Damn. My heart.
Sure. Family.
Why I do this?
Tristan.
Better than me.
Flip, that's good. I think let's go back to the first one, Newlands. How disappointing was not having the send off, and how sad is it going to be knowing that it's no longer going to be the home of rugby for province. I mean, you certainly. I walked past it the other day, and you even now I like looking. I'm like, is anyone like there? Like the grass is nice. Yeah, you see like the big DHL things. Like, oh, it's gonna be sad, man.
Man, it's like so. Just this like all round disappointment. Like I was telling someone the other day, like I would have obviously loved to have like the season go according to plan for us, you know, like as the Stormers of 2020, the season that's passed now.
And
like,
you guys were looking good as well, hey?
So we had such like great plans in place, and we all knew it was going to be the last year, but we just had so much that we wanted to achieve as a group, and like just make more memories than what we already had, you know. And for me, like not having played like sort of a farewell game there is something that will probably be like you wish you can just have that moment, like have that 80 minutes and just be like, this is it, you know. I think like it would have been great to have, you know, the Super Rugby final at Newlands, you know, and have that be the farewell game. And like, can you just imagine Cape Town, like,
say, celebrations, Clermont,
go on to win it, man. I'm telling you, I'm pulling all-nighters left, right, and center. You'll see me at that engine there, with that steers. You'll see me there every night probably. But
geez, that's a great engine. Probably one of the better ones. Probably.
Also, like in my younger days, going to Tiger and that. Like that place, it's got some funny stories that happened at that engine.
I think that's like a different podcast on its own. Just
100%.
The kind of
100%.
stuff you did at that engine. You're like, why did I do that? Like, oh my word.
But getting back to like the Newlands, it's like, it's for me. It's like I remember going there as a lighty, like watching games there, and you think to yourself, oh, I just want to play there like one day,
Yeah.
just want to get onto the field, And like
Yeah.
now I'm thinking like me growing up and having a family, and I can't share that little moment
Yeah.
with my kid, like seeing that excitement, like knowing how excited I was the first time I went to Newlands. Like,
Yes.
you're not
Sure.
gonna have that sort of that moment where your kid will be like, oh, I remember when
Yeah.
my dad took me to Newlands for the first time, So it's really sad, and I think everyone at the union, like there's a guy at Newland who works at Newlands, Gabon. Like he knows, and he knows all the players. He's been there for probably since like Corne Krige days, like
Jeez.
way back.
Shout out.
Like
Shout
even
out.
before then, and like Dobbo made him sort of, or asked him to come and chat to us. I think it was before the Hurricanes game opener, just about what Newlands means to him,
Yo.
and like he's like, I don't, well, can't even guess the age, but like over 50,
Yeah.
and he came up and like chatted to us, and you see the emotion that guy has, and he showed
Cool,
that
eh?
day about Newlands. It's amazing, and like you think to yourself, man, I'm lucky. Like I get to run out here every other Saturday, and there's someone who wants to be like just once,
Yeah,
and
he can't wait for
exactly,
yeah.
and even like Dobbo's dad, who obviously sadly passed away, man,
Yeah.
like he came and spoke to us as well, and like tears were rolling down his cheeks, and like a well-respected man in the rugby fraternity,
Yeah.
and you see him talk about Newlands like that, and it just gives you goosebumps. So you're like I'm really lucky, and I'm
Yeah.
just so blessed to be doing this, at a place like Newlands.
Mm.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously in lockdown we'd be going on like lots of little hike things around Newlands and Newlands Forest, and you obviously the first thing you look for is like where's Newlands, and you
yeah,
see, and I was actually, I think it was 2 weeks ago I was looking at Newlands, and I remember my dad, like as you say, for the first time he took me, I think it was a province game, and I just remember Brayton Paulson just running down the side like killing it, and I was like, oh,
yeah.
this is the dream, bro. This is the
Yeah, man,
dream.
it's like you. The one thing I love about Newlands is the fact that the fans are just so close to you, like
Yeah,
all the time. You know what I mean? And that's something like running out, see all like the jerseys and the flags and that, and it's something that you can't really put into words. It's just like when you're in that moment, you're just like, this is incredible. Like,
yeah.
yeah,
It almost feels like a sense of community once when the game's on. It's like
100%.
it for certainly for fans. It's that specific arena is
Yeah,
you're there for one reason, and that's to support the boys and have a couple beers if you're of age,
100%.
obviously. Um, so yeah, no, I think. But yeah, you say that the fans feel like they're right on top of you. Have you had any classic comments that you remember? Like, because you always shout, you always shout at the players, and they
Yeah.
obviously they don't respond. But like I don't know, if you shout loud enough, I'm sure they can hear.
Oh,
Have you?
100%. Like at least once a game, I've had someone chirp me and that sort of thing.
And you just chuckle.
And like, at the beginning, I was sort of like saying to myself, like, don't like look,
Mm,
don't turn around,
yeah,
don't
yeah.
let them get into
Play
your
it
head,
cool,
that
play it
sort of
cool.
thing. But like as I've like gone on and gotten a bit older, yeah, I sort of like always turn around and just like smile and look at them. It's because it's just like
They love
it's
it
a little
as well. Eh?
moment you have, like a little moment you have with
Yeah.
a fan, like the guy's been trying to get your attention, and like especially during the warm up, like
Okay.
I think for me personally, everyone's always just like so focused. And I mean, the guy's right here. He's 5 meters away from you. It's not
Yeah.
like you can't hear him. You
Yeah.
know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like for me, I always try and turn around and smile or wink or give a thumbs up, But man, I've had some like classic chirps, like especially like with like my hair and that sort of thing. Like people always chirping me, like I should cut my hair and I'll be a bit quicker, or if I cut my hair, like I would have gotten that high ball, like I could have jumped higher.
That's the classics, huh? Jeez.
I remember in 2015, I think, we played the quarterfinal against the Brumbies, and I was playing on the wing, and Joe Tamani was opposite me, and just I'm like stepped in, made a bad read on D, and I was like turned around to get him, and I was already off balance, and he sort of just like brushed me, and I fell down, and like he scored, and I think they won at the end of the day, like 130 something 18, and walking back, I was like head down, obviously,
Yeah,
and then just heard like someone shouting at me. He's like, "Nah, don't worry. You won't have to feel like this again. This will be your last game for the Storm." And
yeah.
it's just like people like, they
Savage.
get into you when you like, and so many times, like guys will always just chirp you about the opposition, and especially when you're playing
Yeah.
the All Blacks, like or playing like a Kiwi Super Rugby team,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
all that guys climb into you. So now there's been some good chirps over the years, I must say.
No, I can imagine. Speaking of hair, that Falau tackle, or whatever you call that, probably one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen on a rugby field. How does that rank in bizarreness to you?
Yeah, no, that's number one. That's number one.
And it must have
But
been so painful. Oh my,
it was,
jeez.
and at that point, I probably should have realized maybe it was time to cut my hair, but
No, well,
I'm still carried on for another 3 seasons with that long hair. But no, that was painful. But it was also like so funny, like obviously the whole situation, how their coach went on about it and
yeah.
saying that he got me by the collar, and then I did the media thing right after, and I said like he pulled me by the hair.
Didn't he say it wasn't hair? He didn't pull the hair?
Yeah, he said Nicola said Falau got me by the collar.
That's the most bizarre comment ever.
Afterwards, we go. What normally happens, like when you play international or like test matches, you go have a beer with the other team and say thank you for the game, whatever the case may be. And he came up to me and he was like, "Bro, I'm so sorry about that. Didn't mean for that to happen, and it was a mistake, and just wanted to apologize to you and not make a big deal of it."
Yeah.
So I was fine with it. I mean, like a lot of people still ask me about it, and they're like, "Yeah, if I see that, is it for loud?"
It was like 5 years ago, guys.
Yeah, it's done. It's done. Just leave it. But that's right up there, like in bizarre rugby moments that I've been involved in.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you also can't really be like bleak at the guy because he obviously wouldn't have tackled you by the hair on purpose,
Exactly. So I think I was way more chilled compared to everyone else about the whole situation.
Yeah, you still see that clip and Eben just goes like,
Irby just
sees red, sees red.
And look, if Eben's gonna stand up for me like that, there's no need for me to be getting it.
Then it's sorted. Then it's sorted.
I can walk away from that situation knowing that even though I wasn't in the battle myself, like it's all done. Like Irby's got it.
That must be a scary experience to have. Even if he's just like have got you by the collar, I'd still
let me tell you, we playing Toulon this weekend as our season opener.
Yes.
And I'm dreading that moment where I try and run it back from 15 and I step the wrong way and I find myself running into Irby. Like I'm already dreading it. I've looked at a couple of clips just to find out where he is. Sort of,
where he fits in.
So on Saturday, I've already got it in my mind saying, look, if they kick the ball on the left, I'm not trying to run towards where the big forwards are to try and get through there. I'm staying far away from that.
No, I think that's why he played 70 odd caps for the Stormers. You got that thinking brain. But let's start with your call up for the Springboks and your debut. Did you ever think as a young guy you'd ever be playing for the Springboks? And how special was that that moment for you and your support system. Just that whole experience I find fascinating of debuts and call ups.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was, Robbie, it was like one of those moments that you want it to happen. Like you're always gonna want it to happen. I mean,
yeah, yeah,
every rugby playing kid in South Africa dreams of one day representing their country or whatever the case may be. So and I was no different. Um, like I just remember when I made the SA under 20 squad, like
mm.
I as a like 7-year-old, we like have to do dress ups when you like
Yeah.
at grade 1 or whatever at school, and I went as a Springbok rugby player,
Jeez, that's
and
awesome.
my mom, like you know how parents are, we're like, so
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't seen that photo since I was maybe 9 years old, and now I'm playing S under 20, and my mom's got the photo,
Showing everyone.
showing
Mom,
everyone.
no.
You're just like, oh, mom,
I
slow
know.
down,
Who's that? Who's
man.
that?
But I just remember we had been at the Springbok camp, um, like sort of for 3 days, and they said that they would let you know how, like, if you made the squad or not. And at the time, I was the only guy with from the Stormers. Now we're traveling back to Cape Town, like, and we're at Joburg Airport, and we're sitting like in the Wimpy, and it was myself, Dillyn Leyds, Eben Etzebeth, Frans Malherbe, Steven Kitsoff, Bongi and Bonambi. Yeah, and me.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I'm not gonna ask these guys like how do they do it? Like how did they tell you if you've made the squad or not? Because
Yeah. Don't say it.
for,
Don't say it.
for
Don't
me,
say it.
for me, they certain like
Yeah.
they know they're in the squad sort of. Because obviously they've had a good season and they've been in the box before, so you'd
Mm.
expect them to be in the wider squad, even like in the starting team. And sort of sat down at the airport and I was on my phone, like speaking to my parents. When my dad was also, what are you thinking? Like, did they chat to you? How do you feel? Do you think maybe you stand a chance? And I was like, oh, I've gone alright doing Super Rugby. So if I do get a call up, I'd be stoked, like, just to be in the environment. But
Mm.
otherwise, I'll hopefully get another run in sooner or later. And like while I'm speaking to my dad, I just see like a lot of WhatsApp messages coming through and congratulations, congratulations. And I'm like, what's going on? And then
No.
like on the like screen, they've got like the squad
No
for the
ways.
June internationals against France. And all of
That
these
is.
guys are like, they're so chill because
Yeah.
like I said,
Yeah.
they're like, oh, okay, my name. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh shit. Like,
Lunch is on me, guys. Lunch is on me.
I'm like, man, like, I'm in a Springbok squad. So that was crazy. And then flying back to Cape Town, like, landed at the airport. My brother picked me up, drove straight through to Strand, like, to go see my parents and that.
Oh man, that must have
Um,
been cool.
yeah, I had like my aunts and uncles, everyone
Yep.
coming over for dinner, and
Good.
like,
Good.
yeah, it was such an awesome feeling. And then like the week leading up to the first test, they announced the starting 15 on the Monday and wasn't in the starting 15. I was thinking, and like I'm sitting there, I'm working out. I'm like, okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
this guy's got to be on the bench. He's the only other 9. He's got to be on the bench because he can play 10. And I'm like, oh, it's tight. It's now between me and 3 other guys. And this guy, he's got a couple of caps as well. So maybe not this test. Let's look towards the next test. And Brendan Fenter was the defense coach at the time, and he sort of comes up to me and he goes, "Look, we haven't finalized the bench yet, but just like don't lose focus now. Like put in
Yeah.
a good session this afternoon, and we're going to announce the bench tomorrow morning." So Tuesday morning comes, and I'm like,
Come on.
Please, come on, something.
Come
Give me
on.
something here,
Come
you know.
on.
And sort of like reviewing yesterday's training, and I'm like, oh, I didn't do much in the training session. Now I've got
Yeah.
to watch this. Like, let's just get to the point where you're not on the bench. And so it goes, and they put up on the big screen. They're like, yeah, this is the bench for the weekend. And congrats, like Dillyn, you're gonna, hopefully go
Let's
on and
go.
make your debut. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, oh, no way. So it was like, man, it's such a like a crazy moment. Like for me in that moment when they announced it, like they had all the boys. Like I was sitting next to Sia, or I was sitting in between Sia and Damien, and like to have those guys just like get around me, like
Yeah.
give me a high five, like give me a hug to say congrats. It's such a lekker feeling to know that these are your mates that you're going out with. At the Stormers on the weekend, you play, you're working hard together, and now you're gonna do it like on the big stage. Representing your country. So it was such an amazing feeling, and like obviously getting on and winning the test match, having my parents and my brother there for like my capping ceremony.
Yeah.
It was just one of those days that you'll never forget, and it was
Yeah.
like really special. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. Sure. Just think about it. Those stories always give me goosebumps. It's like a feel good story. It's just, you can't not feel good.
Exactly. Yeah, 100% a feel good story, man.
Yeah, no, look. I think let's. Well, I'm going to ask, and I understand if you don't want to get into too much detail, but how did you handle not making the World Cup squad? Like, it must have been incredibly tough, especially
Yeah.
you were involved in the kind of lead up to the World Cup. So yeah, how did you handle that?
Yeah, it was pretty tough. Like, never really spoke about it. Well, not because, yeah, I just didn't feel, as someone else has to, listen to me
Yeah,
rambling on about why I didn't make the Springboks. It's like that all that, like, yeah, I probably would have made Western Province, but then I hurt my knee,
yeah.
like
Well, that's always my excuse, but
it's sort of a chat like that.
yeah,
But spoke to like my brother and my parents, and like mostly my missus and some of my close mates, and those were really the people that sort of knew how I was actually feeling about it.
mm,
But yeah, I was pretty disappointed. Like you said, I'd been
yeah,
from the first camp in June last year. I was there for 5 weeks
mm,
in Pretoria, training hard, like knowing exactly what's needed of me. And then rugby championship came around. Was in the 23 for the Australia test where Herschel made his debut.
yeah.
Um, won quite convincingly, but I sat on the bench for 80 minutes. Never really got an explanation as to why I didn't go on. Um, Came back to Western Province, played Currie Cup, like went quite well in the Currie Cup. I
Yeah.
was because for me it was all about trying to prove a point then. Basically like I'm still here even though I'm not in New Zealand, or I think they went to Argentina. Like even though
Argentina,
I'm
yeah.
not in the squad traveling with you guys, like I'm gonna do my best so that you guys have to take note of me back home.
Yeah. Show up and
And yeah, exactly. And then um, just like nothing, and never heard back regarding if I need to come to training camp again or what the case may be. And then just got a call like on a Sunday night saying that I'm flying up to Pretoria tomorrow morning to play
sheesh.
against Argentina. And it was like, I wouldn't say like, for me, it was sort of, oh, well, this is a test to basically give guys a last chance
Yeah.
that's been in the mix. And I was sort of feeling that I'm not really in the mix here.
Okay.
Um, so, like, and I don't know if you remember that test, like Sabu and Korski had a blinder
Yes.
and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
scored those two crazy tries.
Yeah.
And like I say, not to be like the guy with the, oh, could have made it if I didn't injure my knee story. But like, even if I had a game like Sabu and Corsi that day, I don't think I would have changed their minds about me possibly making the squad. You know, I think they already gotten their squad together, and you know, as a player, all you can hope for is that you go out there, you do your best, and things go well for you on the day, and hopefully you sort of leave them with a, ooh, like, maybe we need to have another look at this guy type of thing, you know, leave them scratching their heads a bit. And that wasn't the case. I think we only scraped through that test match like 19-13 or whatever. So it wasn't really a convincing win, and I think guys were also playing to sort of be safe, knowing that they don't really want anything to happen before the World Cup, you know. And that was it. Like literally afterwards, it was thanks. Like, you're on a flight back tomorrow to Cape Town to go play K Cup for Western Province.
Okay.
And that was it. Like, I was never told whether I would be sort of non-traveling reserve or anything like that. So when Jesse got injured, it never even crossed my mind that I could, you know, potentially be getting a call to go to the World Cup. I was actually making plans with my missus to go to Bali, so it would have been
awkward.
would have been a pretty awkward conversation to have with her. That we had bolted up for a good couple of days, or like 10, 12 days, saying that she needs to try and get off at work so that we can go to Bali. And then someone gets injured at the World Cup, and I'm telling her, listen, that Bali.
This is hold it.
But I was like, never once had a sort of, I don't want them to do well. Like, I should have been in there. You know, like, I'm just not that type of person at the end of the day. And I was like, even at that time, you know, before every game, sending, you know, the guys that I'm close with within that group, sending them messages, you know, good luck, hope it goes well, all the best, whatever. And I mean, like straight after the final, you don't expect people like after winning a World Cup final to be replying to your messages, but like, I sent guys a message just out of like, fuck, I'm so happy for you. Like you guys have done so well. You world champs, and like,
straight up.
Obviously for them it hasn't sunk in, but I mean, I was at Tiger's Milk on Kloof since like 9 a.m. Like, you know, the bar was opening at 9:30. I was there. Wait, you know. So like, I was just so happy. Like you see like the whole mood of everyone in Cape Town, and I suppose the whole country after they won the World Cup. So then for those guys to be like, I was sending them a message saying congrats, whatever, and then they're replying straight away with a picture, you know, of them and the medal and the trophy and stuff. Cool. It's like, you're just like, oh man, this is like, at the end of the day, like, they're gonna be world champs forever, and their gold medal is gonna be there. But it's really about the friendships, you know, and you're so happy for those guys who they're your close mates, and they're now world champs, you know. So you're just so happy for them at the end of the day.
I was going to ask more on that, but I think let's end at that. That's a nice way to end it and put it to bed, I guess. Just with happy end on a good note, I think, you know. Like,
well, if you, I don't mind. We can chat. Well, if you want to.
No. It was just Let's. I think let's go with what would you say your most memorable moment would be in the Springbok jersey?
My most memorable moment, my first start against Australia. It was also the hair pulling game. So
can't really forget that one.
Can't forget that one, yeah. But my first start, for the Springboks. You know, my debut will always be special to me, and something that, you know, I'll hold close to my heart for a very long time. But I think being in the run-on team for the first time against Australia in Bloom, and also that Newlands test against the All Blacks the following week was epic. Like,
How was facing the haka? How was that?
oh man,
Special.
let
Yo.
me tell you, like and like that's why like there's obviously been a lot of chat going on about people, the haka must go, and like it's every other
Yeah.
weekend, but it's something that as a Springbok playing against the All Blacks, you wanna be
Yeah,
standing in front of the haka.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
you 100% want to face the haka, and then in recent times they've done well to then stick it to them for a good 80 minutes
Yes.
afterwards. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
But there was so much, like I remember that test match, just that week leading up to it. They'd obviously like smashed us 57-0 a
Yo.
couple of weeks before, and that week in Cape Town, we knew that there was going to be so many All Black supporters at
Yeah.
Newlands as well. And
Mm.
just that whole week, everyone was fired up from like Sunday evening
Let's go.
the week
Vibes.
before, like just like, nah, this is the game
This
we've
is
been
it.
waiting for, and like if we can play now, we'd go. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
everyone was so fired up for it, which was and was awesome. So that's also a really special moment, like that SA All Blacks Test match at Newlands. Yeah,
Yeah. So you mentioned your debut was against Australia, and you actually went over, slightly off topic, but you went over to the Force.
yeah.
What's your kind of take on Australian rugby at the moment? Like it's yeah, Can you
I
comment on
think
Australian rugby at the moment?
just let me turn on the light here. I think the European sunset's hitting us. But, yeah, well, I think for me, like when I went over to the Force, for me it was more about the learnings that I could take out of being in a Super Rugby setup at the age of
Yeah,
21.
sure.
I got given the opportunity, and I was like, man, I'm gonna take this, see where it goes. And I think at that stage they were going really well. They had a lot of good players in good position and a lot of depth in
Yeah,
all of their positions basically. But the one thing you sort of realize so quickly is that rugby is not a big deal in Australia.
I've heard. I've heard.
It's got so many other competing sports,
Mm,
which makes it so difficult for Rugby Australia to get players
mm,
sort of buying into the rugby community, so
yeah,
to say. Like, like just at the moment, I've been reading about like this 17-year-old kid who's killing it in,
yeah,
in like this Australian schoolboy rugby, and now some rugby league team has come
yeah.
and thrown a
Classic.
ridiculous amount of money at him,
Mm,
and Rugby Australia just can't compete with it.
yeah, you can't.
These kids like they play rugby and rugby league during school, and then they've got schools that potentially don't even have rugby because they've got rugby league and AFL.
Yeah,
And then like another sport is obviously cricket,
yeah,
and something that and like to go a little bit further, a sport that you wouldn't even think is big time in Australia, soccer. Like
really?
rugby union is probably on par and at times even below soccer,
Sure.
just because like there's just rugby league I think has hurt rugby union
Yeah.
just because they've got the financial power.
Mm,
And I think the rugby union players in Australia find it difficult to, I mean, if you're 17 and some rugby league club is throwing cash at you,
yeah, you.
you're not gonna, you're not sort of sitting back and thinking, um,
Yeah.
I want to play for the Wallabies and want to play Super Rugby. But here's a rugby league team telling you, listen, we
Mm,
want you, and this is what we're going to offer you. And you asking,
Yeah,
where's the pen? Let me sign
you've
this
never
thing.
seen that much money in your life. It's just like,
Exactly. So
yeah,
it's difficult for them to compete with the other sports.
yeah,
But at the moment, like I've watched a couple of the Super Rugby AU games, and it just seems like the sort of the tide is turning a bit because they've got. I mean, the Reds. I think the average age in the Reds is like
yeah,
23, something like
flipping
that.
young.
So
Yo.
they're all so young, and like besides like Michael Hooper at the Waratahs, they've got a lot of young guys coming through as well.
Mm.
Like obviously at the Force, like they've just been so stoked to be back in Super
Yeah,
Rugby. So they sort of putting some more young talent on display that probably wasn't even known in Australia before Super Rugby AU.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
you've got like the Rebels who've probably got the Rebels and the Brumbies who've probably got the stars
yeah.
of Australian rugby at the moment.
Mm.
So I think if they can keep sort of putting up good performances and keep showing good behaviors in terms of what they're promising the young guys, instead of going after money at a young age,
Yeah,
like looking after just after player welfare and
yeah,
showing the guys that, this is the path that we've got, or this is the plan that we've got for you as a 18, 19-year old. I think if they go about things that way, then hopefully for them, the tide will be turning in terms of being able to keep quality youngsters playing rugby union. Yeah.
yeah. I think yeah, I think like rugby being strong in Australia is important, especially like with our rugby championship. You know, if it's going to be
100%.
like if Australia is going to be cuck, then it's like
Yeah.
it almost takes away like the viewing pleasure. I guess you want to have
100%.
a good hit out against an Australian side. But yeah, Dylan, how are we doing for time? Your side? Are you
Yeah, no, I'm chilled. I'm chilled.
okay? So it's just a
Just,
Q and A, and then just one more.
yeah, all good.
Um, Sweet, thank you. So, who is faster between you and your put?
My brother, without a doubt.
um, why didn't you play 10 at the Stormers?
um, if I know an answer to that question, I would give it to you straight off. But yeah, I think coming in, I was seen more as a 15,
Okay.
and
What do you see yourself more as?
well, at the moment, 100%,
15.
I prefer playing 15. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think obviously with the sort of role that I was given at the Stormers, I was allowed to step in at first receiver a lot, and
Yeah.
at times I did that, and other times I didn't want to overplay my role. So it was really cool that the coaches who I've worked with allowed me to still step in as first
Mm.
receiver, and I enjoy it. I like often like wherever I go, whichever team I play, like I always try and like chat to the tens and sort
Yeah.
of get
It is,
comfortable
yeah.
with them so that when I do get into that position when I want to step in at 10, they're not sort of thinking, hey, why is this
Yeah.
guy up here trying to take my spot? Yeah. But now
And
I
yeah.
still enjoy playing like 10 or like just watching guys play at 10. It's sort of like it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you been given that freedom at La Rochelle to hop in at 10?
Yeah, 100%. It's
Okay.
one of the things that I spoke with the coaches, at length about, and it's something that they wanna bring into their game as well, because
Yeah.
over here it's well, I say over here, I can only talk of La Rochelle. Things seem very much structured in a way that back home and sort of what we wanted to achieve, as the Stormers is to play what's in front of you, that type of thing, and
Yes. Yeah.
that's why I was given that role of, man, if I see space in front of me, I'm gonna call for the ball, even though that's not the play. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the way the club, like that's the way La Rochelle wants to go,
Okay.
and I think that's why it's been so good for me to come over here and see how I can sort of take my game to the next level, by
Yeah.
doing what I was doing back home in a different league now. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, as I said earlier, I wasn't going to comment on the selection, but I think you almost kind of fitted the mold that we saw of like 15 wing fly half with the 6-2 split. So it's weird that it wasn't a consideration, but anyway, it's
It's
yeah.
that. It's that.
What was your matric score against Bosch?
Ooh,
You win.
away we beat them 30-10, I think.
Oh, now he's just bragging.
And then at home we drew 18 all, I think.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
also drew in my matric. Such a weird end to your because I was our lot. I didn't play obviously, but
So weird. You're like, please, like 10 more minutes. Come
yeah,
on.
like just let the boys play. Have a drop. Like
Exactly.
who's gonna celebrate? Like who's going where in the
Yeah.
roof? Like
Who's he gonna chirp in Claremont Main Road?
yeah,
Or something?
exactly. Like,
You know?
at least have a dropout or something.
Something,
Oh,
man.
let the boys play. Uh, Dylan, I was made to ask this one. Well, I was asked to ensure that I ask this. Budgie, smuggler, or beanbag? And what made you start wearing speedos? And what do the boys think about it in the dressing room?
I actually don't mind. I've got a bit of both. I think I've got a good couple of budgies and beanbag as well.
Beanbag.
But
It's a great name.
yeah, so it just came about like on my first Stormers tour. Actually, we were in Sydney,
Okay.
and myself and Damien Dillyn just sort of wanted to get speedo. We were actually at the beach one day and we saw like the guys are swimming in speedos and they were like, "What's that all
That's
about?"
foreign. That is foreign in
Yeah.
Cape Town.
And then we saw like some of these like they got really cool patterns, whatever. Ended up following the people on Instagram, sending them a message saying like, "Listen, we want to get a pair and whatever."
Mm.
And like since then, it's just for me, it's a lot. Like I don't play in tights. Like it's not that I've got
Yeah.
like the biggest legs, so I've got to worry about chafing or anything like that. So, like I don't play with tights. So
So do you
for
jaw
me,
with your speedo? Like do you jaw like rugby with
yeah,
your
so like I train in one. I play in one. Like I train in one all the time. I'm playing
that's
it.
it?
So it's just about comfortability, I
Oh, well,
suppose.
if it keeps it in place, it keeps it in place. So you can't.
Exactly. I'm
There's
not
no two
gonna.
ways about it.
There's no two ways about it. It's just about comfortability.
Exactly. Um, yeah, and then that pass. Sorry, I didn't say that right. That pass. Uh, so I got about 6 different questions about it. So I think I'm sure you've told the story lots of times, but it's a story
Oh,
worth telling.
man.
And I think
Yeah.
you'll be telling it for a while, let's be honest. So yeah, let's chat through that pass.
Um,
Like, yeah, thoughts, how you did
well,
it.
the funny thing is, a lot of people watch that clip and they're like, "Oh, great pass." But
Yeah.
if you look at the clip from start to finish, I made a horrible decision on D. Like, if Cheslin didn't intercept the ball, the guy I was supposed to get would have
Through.
scored. So
Shout out
sort
Cheslin.
of I turned around thinking, "Oh, like they've got us here." And yeah, Chesney makes the intercept and then sort of toe punch to the head. And to be honest, there wasn't anything going through my head really. Like,
That Bishop's free flowing.
I caught the ball and as I was like falling, I saw like Esper Murray running and I knew that he was in all sorts of space. So like I had to get the ball to him. And
All sorts of space.
because because I caught the ball in my right hand, like it was just I was in that position to just like throw
Yeah,
it. So
yeah,
I just knew like should get the ball to Esper. Like he's got a bit of space in front of him,
yeah.
so get it to him like as quickly as possible without having to set up a ruck.
Yeah.
And then that's what I did. And I mean, there's like I've watched the clip and I'm like, so how or but
Yeah.
Like, I honestly have no explanation for it, and like people always expect this great story,
Yeah. Well, you don't
oh,
ruin the truth of the good story, I
like
guess.
I was thinking to myself that like no, like, I
Yeah,
wasn't really thinking anything. I just
yeah,
did it, like,
yeah.
and like lucky for me, it came off because it probably would have gone into the grandstand if it
Yeah,
didn't. You
would have
know?
been a bit awkward if it did. So
Would
HB's like,
yeah, would have, everyone exactly. Everyone would have been like, "Why? Why did you
yeah.
spot me off?" So no,
Set up the
I'm just
rock,
happy.
Dylan. Come on.
Yeah, or set up a rack.
Come
We
on.
had in behind them. We had the momentum.
Yeah,
So hold on to the ball. So man, it is like no great story to it. It's just I think the funny thing is like I came over here to La Rochelle and Tawira Kobalo is the 9 over here now.
yeah.
And on that day he was the 9 as well.
Okay.
So he said to me, he's like he had the perfect view of it because he was running right behind me
Okay.
and he was just thinking to himself
There's no ways.
like okay, we've got them here because I think
Yeah.
at that stage like the game was still pretty tight
Mm.
and he was just saying like it's not a runaway try,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
he said when he saw me through that pass he was just like there's no ways, like
Yeah, come on. I didn't just
he's
see
like
that.
yeah and then he said like he sort of knew like mentally they were just done, like
Yeah.
'cause
Because by that stage, it was like you guys were more than 14
yeah
points ahead or something.
I
It
think
was,
when SPS scored, we were 12 points ahead.
yeah. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. So yeah, but he always like he said to me, it's like, bro, that like I'll never I would have never told you like after the game good pass or whatever, because he's such a competitor as well. He's like,
Yeah.
but now we're teammates, and he's like, but that was crazy.
Good pass.
Good pass, good
It's a,
pass.
it's a
Yeah.
great pass. I mean, a great pass doesn't need a great story. It was just a great pass. So,
Exactly. Yeah. It's just a great
that's.
pass.
And then who was your favorite player as a kid?
Our favorite player. And you can ask anyone that I went to school with. Like Quade Cooper was the man.
Yes.
Like Quade was the man for me. Like there was.
Let's be honest, Quaid still kind of is the man. Like, even though he's not
He's still
Jordan, he
the
still
man.
is
Like
the man. Like,
he's still the man. Like
shout out Quaid.
we played against him last year, when we played the Rebels, and I just remember like the ball, like they knocked the ball and I picked it up and just beat the one guy, and Quaid was in front of me. And I was thinking to myself, like, I'll probably never get this opportunity again, so I
Yeah.
need to like do something here. And
Give
then
him a Quaid.
ended up scoring, and like
Yeah, man.
I just remember speaking to my brother after the game. I was
You guys are both like,
I was like, "Look, I'm done with rugby now. I'm
yeah,
done with
yeah.
like, I'm
Calling it,
done what I wanted to do. Like
quit
I've
while you're ahead.
played against like my schoolboy hero, and like we beat them, so scored
Yeah.
a try. So it's like I'm done with rugby now.
Yeah,
Bye.
okay. Now hang up the boots. It's done.
Yeah,
Um,
when when they took like the Wallabies trained at Bishop's once, and
mm,
I just remember meeting him and like not even having a proper conversation, but just being like, hey, like how are you? Bro, I really like the way you play rugby. And he was just like, oh, thanks man, I appreciate it. And like, yeah,
yeah,
what position do you play? And I was like, oh no, I play 10. And he was like, oh man, like enjoy it,
yeah.
just have
Did
fun, whatever.
did he? Did you chat to him about that like experience once you had played against him a couple times, or was it like just keep it under?
No, so like afterwards, because like at the Rebels now, they've got quite a guys who I played with at the Force. So afterwards, I just like went into their like changing room and just chatted to them a bit, and
Yeah,
he was there, but just like first bump, how good, whatever.
yeah.
Not much of a chat.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. And then we're gonna wrap up now. I just think, yeah, I'll be interested to know where do you see yourself by the next World Cup?
By the next World Cup,
At the end of
hopefully
it,
involved. Hopefully
involved.
involved in the
Yeah,
World Cup.
come
Hopefully
on.
be part of a group of players that have gone back to back in winning
Shit, how good
World
would
Cup.
that be?
Um, and yeah, probably, hopefully, nicely settled in still in France at that
Yep.
time.
Come on.
But yeah, that's the dream, you know, being in that in a World Cup squad that has gone back to back.
Yeah, with that belief as well, huh?
100%,
Sure.
100%.
Yeah. Dylan, thanks so much. Actually, Chris Van Sale responded to my thing on the Q&A, and he said,
Of course he did.
He
Of
said,
course he
I
did.
can't remember what he said exactly, but he was like, he's such a legend. Oh, yeah, he's such a legend. I miss him dearly. And I agree. What a legend. Thank you so much. It's been so lekker chatting. And I feel like, yeah,
Yeah, thanks,
it's been
Robert. It's
nice
been a lekker
connecting.
chat.
It's
Yeah,
been
no,
nice
it's been a
connecting.
lekker chat, bro.
Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
No, thank you very much, man. Thank you for having me.
Sweet.